Hello, and welcome to your first class online. I really hope that we don't have to do this a lot. I really sincerely hope that. I'm very familiar with being in front of the camera. I worked for the junior local news when I was a teenager. I loved journalism. I loved being on camera. I loved writing about different things and reporting on different things. So I loved the camera even before people invented selfies and stuff like that. So I have no problem teaching online. But of course, I really hope that we don't have to do this a lot. Because of the pandemic in 2020, I taught a lot of classes online, and I had been doing that since about 2008 because I taught online way before this whole madness started as a means to make money teaching private classes. So this is really not a problem for me, but let us hope that I don't have to do this a lot this year. But whenever I need to be absent, unless I really don't have a voice, I will always teach online and provide you with a real interactive experience as close to being in the classroom as possible. Here's how this works. Everybody needs to communicate with me somehow so I know that you're a part of this. Some of you told me during class that you don't have a YouTube account. That is not a problem. What you can do is when I ask questions, you can either type in the chat if you have a YouTube account or a Google account, or you can write your answers on a piece of paper, take a picture of that, and send them to me. At the moment, I haven't been able to set up Canvas properly. This will, don't worry, we will eventually set everything up. Then, right now, you can send them to me on our group chat that I set up for us on Facebook, or you can send it to me to my email. That's also a possibility. Um, I'll give you my email so you can message me. But one thing that I want everybody to feel very comfortable with is that I'm very accessible to you. Accessible, tillgänglig. So you can even ask my students from last year. They messaged me all the time when they needed something, either on Canvas, they messaged me on Facebook, they messaged me everywhere. I'm very easy to find online. So there's no excuse to say, hey, I could not find you. I didn't know how to message you. You Google my name, all this stuff comes up. My Facebook, Instagram, everything, my email. So you can always message me and ask whatever you need to ask. You will notice that I will be typing a lot in the chat, and I'll also be looking straight at the camera. I can touch type about 110 words a minute, so I'm able to look you straight in the eye and still type at the same time, which is a skill that really helps me with this. The first order of business, get your books. If you do not have your books with you, pictures of these pages will be available in the group chat. So there's no excuse. You can open the group chat and you will have pictures of the pages for you to look at. I try to cover all my grounds so that everybody is able to participate. Like I said, when I ask questions, type straight in the chat. If you can't type straight into the chat, write the stuff on a piece of paper and give it to me later. Or take a picture of what you typed and send it to me. Some of you are at school with unabated. Some of you are at home. This is the reason why we're starting at 12:45. This will be about 35 to 40 minutes, and then you will have time to do maybe a paragraph, a summary, or an assignment. We'll see what we have time for. But please make sure that you are in touch with me and you let me know that you're watching this because that's how I can register you as present in this class. Without further ado, get your books. These are the pages. Those of you who don't have the book at home with you, pictures of the pages are available to you. So you don't have to worry about anything. Everything is going to work perfectly fine, perfectly well. Okay, page 14. As you can see, it says, do you see this red mark on top of the page? There is a red dot where it says shortcut. This book, Citizens, has lots of very long texts, and we already read one of the long texts in the classroom. I remember there were 5 or 6 people in the classroom who read it out loud, and we discussed this as a group. That long text is now summarized into what is called shortcut. And now we're going to do a review. We're going to go back to some of the things we discussed, and we'll be reminded of the topic by looking at this. First of all, now is the time when I want you to type into the chat. If you are able to type into the chat, type into the chat. If you are not able to type into the chat, write your answers on a piece of paper, write them on your phone, write them on Facebook, and send them to me. As long as I know that you're participating, we are going to be okay. Do you remember what the title matched, what that refers to? If you remember, type in chat what the title matched refers to. Remember, even if somebody else has already answered, still write in your answer because they don't come up in order. They come up all at once for me and I can see that you typed. What does the title matched refer to? What is the whole text about? Vad gäller texten om? Vad gäller texten matched om? What is the text about? Type in. I'll be typing back to you, acknowledging your answers in the chat. Before we started reading last class when we were all sitting together in class, one of the things that we did, we made a list on the board of different dating apps. Can you type in the chat right now, or those of you who don't have access to that chat, write me on Facebook, write me anywhere. I'm actually going to open a separate window on Facebook so I can see if somebody's trying to contact me there. What were some of the dating apps that we talked about? One of the things that you talked about regarding dating apps, and a lot of you talked about Tinder. I think everybody knew that one. Somebody mentioned a specific dating app for people looking for specific types of other people that were also interested in the same gender, or people who were perhaps looking for something that they couldn't find on Tinder. What was that app? And what was peculiar about it? Vad var det som var lite speciell om appen som vi snackat om? I'll be acknowledging everything in writing. And even those of you who don't have a YouTube account, you can still watch what's going on and you can see what's written in the chat, even if you can't respond. Another aspect of what we discussed in class was regarding advantages and disadvantages of using dating apps. Advantages, fördelar, disadvantages, olämpor. I am going to be talking about different things in Norwegian sometimes, just to make sure that everybody understands what's going on. Fördelar, advantages. Olämpor, disadvantages. So what you can do is just take notes about all of these things that I've been saying, and you can send the notes to me. I'm not sure if you can see this properly. I'm going to make it bigger. Here's my email. Pollyanna Nielsen at, just a second, let me see, at gmail.com. So far I asked what was the title about. The second question was, what dating apps did we discuss in class? And what did one of the dating apps have that was a bit different from the other apps? And the next question was, what are some of the advantages, fördelar, and some of the disadvantages of dating apps? And you can write in the chat. I'll be acknowledging the answers. You can, for instance, write key words in the chat. You don't have to write a long answer for it. Now that we have talked about this, we're going to listen to the audio. Page 14 is the pages that you have there. As you listen, try to look at the words as you listen. It is very important. I can't stress this enough. In previous years teaching, I have noticed that sometimes the audio is playing and people are looking up at the ceiling, they're looking somewhere else. Look at the words so that you can associate the sounds of how the words are pronounced with how they're spelled. It's a very good technique. Okay, so let's listen. Page 14, the text is titled Matched.
Shortcut. Matched. A man and a woman in New York City meet through a dating app. Their friends have made them try the app, even though neither of them liked the idea. The man decides to contact the woman because he likes her profile and because she is wearing a scarf from a TV series called Doctor Who in her profile picture. They soon find out that they have many things in common. Both are usually quite shy, and for this reason, they have had problems finding a partner. Now they are really enjoying flirting online. Soon they are texting each other all the time. When they decide to go on a date in real life, it becomes difficult. Neither knows what to say, and there is an embarrassing silence. They are about to give up. Then the man has the idea to send the woman a message that says, "Well, shit, we're not very good at this, are we?" The woman reads it and laughs, and they continue to chat in the way they feel most comfortable, through their phones.
So this was a summary of what you listened to in class. We read together. We had different people read, which was also, I must say, very impressive. The pronunciation, the cadence of your speech, and how you're all, everyone that read out loud. You did a tremendous job. All right. So now there are 4 questions where it says understand. I'm gonna, there we go. At the very bottom of that text in orange, some people argued with me last year and said, that Pollyanna, that's not orange. That is red. Okay, I'll go for it. So there are 4 questions there. I want you to answer them in the chat box. Let's start with the first one. Why do the 2 people in the story use a dating app? Just write a very quick answer in the chat. You will write expanded answers when you sit down to do your assignments. Right now in the chat, you're just writing quick, short answers. And remember, even if somebody else has already typed and you see lots of answers going up, and don't worry, still type your answer because I usually look at this whole broadcast again later on because it's available on my channel. This is the thing about teaching online. It's double the work, sometimes 3 times the work, because I have to prepare for it before I get on camera. I have to do it on camera, teach on camera, and later on I have to rewatch the whole thing and look at the answers that people gave so that I know that people were here. And I also have to revise the emails that are sent to me so that I know who participated. And then I have to correct things and go over everything again. So it's a lot more work than people give teachers credit for. But the one good thing for somebody like me who takes a long, long way to get there, it is about an hour and a half with the wait when I take the bus. And even if I have somebody who's really nice from work drive me, it's a long drive to go. So that is a plus when I get to teach from home. But it's a lot of work. And of course, the interactions that we have online, looking at what you type, or when we get on Skype sometimes to do the class on Skype, for example, it is not the same as being in person. Anyway, the very first question, why do the two people in the story use a dating app? I'm acknowledging your answers in chat. The second question, why is the scarf the woman is wearing in her profile picture important? Not important in general, but why is it important in this story here? Please type away. And if you don't have access to a YouTube account, you can send me the answers on email or via Facebook. I have my Facebook open so I can see your answers there too. The third question, question C, how is their online conversation going? Because this is what happened. At some point in the text, we see that they were so shy sitting there. They didn't know what to say to each other. They were feeling a little bit almost afraid to talk, right? So they started typing to each other on the phone, and that was easier because that's what they were used to. So now, how is their online conversation going? Please type, is it more comfortable or is it more awkward? How is their online conversation going? One thing that is really interesting about the word awkward. What does the word awkward mean? Type in chat if you know. Awkward. What does that mean? When you close your eyes, can you visualize how that word is spelled? Let me show you something. Awkward is spelled like that. It is an awkward spelling to an awkward word. It's a weird spelling. It's not something that you would expect. Awkward, weird, strange, uncomfortable. That's what it means. Question D. How does the man manage to break the awkward silence in their first date? He said a sentence. What was it? You can look through in the text. Now, the next part of what we're going to do, I want you to focus on the pictures on page 15. 15. On page 15, what you have are on the very top, you have some drawings, right? They are not in chronological order. Do you understand chronological order? What does chronological order mean? Chronological order. Can somebody explain to me? Please type in the chat or message me about it. The word order in Norwegian, rekkefølge, but what does chronological order mean? It has something to do with a time frame. The 1st of February, the 2nd of February, the 7th of February, the 25th of February, in chronological order according to dates and times, all in order. So please type in chat what the very first picture should be. A picture that symbolizes how they met on the dating app, the only information that they have about each other at this point when they meet in the dating app. What is the very first thing that happened? It's picture number 2, which is the pictures of their faces looking really happy. The woman is wearing the scarf that caught the guy's attention. That is the very first picture. Then what happened after that? It is the third picture where they're typing to each other on their phones using the app. What is the next thing that happened? You have 2 pictures left. You have one picture where they're sitting at a dinner table, looking kind of bored, looking kind of awkward. And then you have a picture where they're lying in bed, dreaming about each other, but they're in separate places. They're not sleeping in the same place, they are in different places. She's in her house, he's in his house, and they're sleeping and they're dreaming about each other. So, which of those happened first? You may have a point if you say, hey, how do we know that after they met and talked in person that they didn't go home and dreamt about each other? In that case, the order would have been a little different. But if you think about what was described in the text, they were thinking about each other, dreaming about each other before they met. So the order would be this. Number 2 was first, number 3 was next, then 4, then 1, if we go by the text. Next, still on page 15, I want you to look at the very first exercise there. Understand true or false. Letter A, the couple in the text met through a dating app. True or false? Page 15. Letter A. True or false? The couple in the text met through a dating app. Those of you who said it was true, that is correct. Letter B. They both enjoyed the sign-up process. Why is it false? They were both encouraged by other people to sign up. It wasn't their idea. So that is why it is false to say that they both enjoyed the sign-up process, because it wasn't their idea. People made them do it. Hey, go do it. It's going to be fun. Come on. It wasn't like they came up with it and that they wanted to do it. So that's why it's false. Letter C. When he found her, he immediately sent her a message. In the summary that we just read, it's not it's not really clear. The summary that we looked at today, but in the text that we read in class, if you go to page 12, I'll tell you exactly where it is on page 12. And I'll take a picture of that page for you to find it too. This is what page 12 looks like. I'm going to take a picture to make it easier for you to find it. Let me take a picture. So on page 12, you have a picture of the woman wearing the scarf, which is very symbolic of what the man's first, how he first became interested in her. It was when he saw her wearing that scarf, wasn't it? And why was it that he got interested in her because of the scarf? How is that significant to the story? There we go. That's page 12. On that page, the whole story is familiar to everybody because everyone was in class and we read it together. But in the text that we read today, this is not clear. It is very clear on this page, page 12. If you go to the top of the page, the second paragraph, andre avsnitt, where it says, he had found her one Saturday, 3 days after joining. He was drawn to her, auburn hair and bright hazel eyes, but specially to the Tom Baker Doctor Who scarf she wore in her profile picture. 2 days later, he had summoned the courage to message her. So if we go back to the exercise, and the question is, the sentence is, when he found her, he immediately sent her a message. That is false. Why is it false? He didn't have the courage to message her straight away. It took him 2 days, so he didn't message her immediately. It took him a little gathering a little bit of courage to do it. The next one, letter D. After a week, the couple decided to meet up. Is it true or false? Again, this may not be very clear in the summary that we just read, but if we go back to the pages, we'll find out. Go to page 13. Page 13. Here on page 13, if you look at, let me see, if there is a paragraph that starts like this. By Friday, they were making plans to meet up. By Friday, they were making plans to meet up. So this tells us that it is about right. After a week, the couple decided to meet up. So letter D is true. Letter E, the couple decided to meet for dinner in a restaurant. Again, go back in the pages. If you go back to page 13, you will find the answer. Again, that same paragraph that starts, by Friday, they were making plans to meet up. They decided on a coffee shop halfway between them around 2 p.m. on Sunday. So it was not a restaurant, it was a coffee shop, and it wasn't for dinner. It was in the middle of the afternoon, so it wasn't really dinner. So let's go back. Letter D, let me just write it here. I will send everybody a copy of this file. Letter D is true and letter E is false. They didn't meet for dinner. They met at 2 p.m. And it's also false because they didn't meet at a restaurant. They met at a coffee shop. Now the final sentence. He sent her a message to break the ice. Is it true or false? He sent her a message to break the ice. It is true. He did. Okay, so when you finish watching this here, you will do exercise 3 on page 15. You will do it either by hand or you can type it. If you do it by hand, take a picture of it and send it to me either in our group chat on Facebook, or you also have the option of sending it to me on email. Pretty soon we'll all be able to use Canvas. So this is the assignment you will do. Those of you who are at home, you're going to do it at home. Those of you who are sitting at school with Annabette, you will just do it and show it to her. And once you're finished, then you get to go home. Yay. But before you go, I'd like everybody to get their phones. I hope your phones are charged. We're going to do one round of Quizlet Live. It is also a part of what I do when we do classes online. It is another way of interacting. You will be receiving the code. The code will be in the chat box. And as soon as you see the code in the chat box, go straight in. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get used to doing Quizlet Live. We'll do some Duolingo, we'll do Kahoots, and I want you to get used to interacting this way because it really helps you with vocabulary and it also helps you do something fun. And some people say, this is not fun, we're still studying. Well, it's good to study in creative ways. So I want everybody to be a part of this. The game might have already started because you're watching this with a little bit of a delay. We'll play, how about this? We'll play 3 rounds. What you're seeing on your screen is a sample game. It is not the game you're playing right now. All right, everybody. I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Look at our group chat and you'll have some more instructions about what's going to happen next.